Welcome to my kitchen, everyone. Today we're going to learn how to make kitcheri. Kitcheri is a traditional Ayurvedic dish that's normally used during panchakarma or a cleanse or a mono diet. So kitcheri is simple. It's a one-pot meal. It's really easy to make. Basically, you need an oil. We usually use ghee, spices, and I'll show you what I've used, basmati rice, split mung beans, vegetables, and water. The ingredients that I have here are some fresh made ghee. I've just made this, homemade, and then also some spices. The recipe that you may be following calls for cumin seeds and turmeric. So I have fresh cumin seeds right here, a teaspoon of them, and a teaspoon of turmeric. And this recipe that we're using is for 4 people. Now, I'm also going to use fennel seeds and coriander seeds. I'm making this for mostly pitta-type digestion, as well as a little bit of vata. So I'm going to add some fresh ginger and just a tiny bit of cayenne. So I also have some white organic basmati rice, as well as some organic split mung beans. Now, split mung beans can be difficult to find, especially organic. I'll often order them from Banyan Botanicals. They're different from whole mung beans in that they're yellow and they look like they've been cut in half. Split mung beans are essential for this recipe because they're the most easy to digest. Before you get started, you want to make sure that you rinse the split mung beans and the basmati rice. This helps remove any of the dust or particles that they've picked up during travel and storage so that they're more easily digestible. So I'm going to take a fine mesh strainer. If you have one that's too big, your rice will fall right through. And I'm going to bring these over to the faucet. I'm going to take the rice, pour it into the strainer, and just get the water running in there. And I don't know if you can tell, but the water's pretty cloudy right now. So I'm just going to continue to run water over the rice until I see that it's running clear. With my clean hands, I'll stir with a finger. You could also use a spoon. There we go, starting to run a lot more clear. So I'll turn that off. Put the rice back into its bowl. And then, same process with the mung beans. All right, so the first thing that we'll want to do are get our spices going. So I'm going to set my pot, and I'm going to turn it to medium heat. You're starting with 2 to 4 tablespoons of ghee. I'm splitting it right down the middle. I'm going with 3 tablespoons. The climate that I'm in is quite dry, so I'm going to start with the 3 tablespoons of ghee, and I'll probably add ghee to my finished product. So once the ghee gets nice and hot, I'm on medium to high heat, then I'll add the herbs. All right, so we've got my ghee nice and hot. And the way that I tested that is I took a drop of water and put it in there, and once it bubbled and sizzled, we know it's ready. So I'll start with adding my fresh cumin seeds. I've got a teaspoon of them, and I'll get them into the pot. And you want them to sizzle in the pot. So you want that ghee to be nice and warm. Stir those around. If you're using seeds or roots, now is the time that you put those in. So I'm putting my fennel seeds, I've got a teaspoon of those. Teaspoon of my coriander seeds. And then at this point, I'm also going to put in my fresh ginger. So I'll scoop that in. Notice that I'm not putting my powdered spices in, so I'm not putting my ground turmeric, I'm not putting my cayenne yet. We wouldn't want those to burn. So, let our spices go in here. And I'm just gonna let them go for about a minute. I've got some fresh onion from my mom's garden this summer. I'll throw that in. And because this is a one-pot meal, we don't have to worry about getting the onion translucent or any of those other cooking rules. I've also got a little bit of sweet potato. It's sweet and heavy. It helps add moisture. Add that. And some of these really pretty purple carrots from my mom's garden. I didn't peel them because they were so pretty. So I just washed them. I'm going to stick those in. And then stir around. So once the vegetables are in, I'm going to stir them for 30 seconds to a minute. You can do it up to 7 minutes, but really again, one pot meal. This is really simple. We're basically going to dump everything in. So next, I'm going to stir in my powdered herbs. My turmeric, I've got about a teaspoon. Really nice anti-inflammatory herb. Good for the skin. And then I'm just going to do a dash of cayenne, just to give it a little bit of a kick, and stir those in there. Finally, we've got our rice, our rinsed basmati, and our rinsed mung beans. So I'll get those in as well. And I'm going to stir everything to get coated. Get coated in the ghee, get coated with all the herbs, and I'm going to stir this and let this get all heated up for about a minute. So again, one pot meal, really simple. Now depending on the dosha that you're working on balancing, you want this to be drier or wetter. For example, if you're treating vata, you want this to be more of a mush in finished product. If you're balancing kapha, you may want it to be more like a pilaf. So you'll see in the recipe it says anywhere from 4 to 8 cups of water. I'm going more on the 8 cup side, so I have more of a soupy, mushy, finished product that's really soothing to the dry climate that I'm in. So about a minute later, I'm going to add about 6 to 8 cups of water. I can always add more. I'll turn my heat up to high and get this boiling. So one more stir to make sure nothing's sticking on the bottom. I've got my lid right here. I'm going to bring it to a boil, reduce to low, and set a timer for about 20 minutes. So our timer has gone off. It's been about 20 minutes or so. So it's looking good to me. I'm going to take the lid off. And I kept it covered the whole time. And give it a stir. And there's a little bit of extra moisture on top that will stir in when I stir. And that's fine because as this sits, if you were to put some of it away, it'll soak up that extra moisture. And when you reheat it, you may want to reheat it with some extra water. So from here, you can see the pot. It looks lovely. It's a golden color with turmeric giving it that nice yellow. There are different options for serving. I like to have a few toppings to add to make it dosha specific for me. Basically, I'm just going to create a nice serving. Real pretty in there. And then to this bowl, you can add some cilantro. I have some fresh chives. If you had Bragg's liquid aminos or coconut aminos, you could add that for a salty flavor. If you're watching the levels of kapha in your body, you may want to skip the salt. But I'm just going to put a light sprinkle. I also have some sunflower seeds, so I'm going to have a few of those. And then finally, a dollop of yogurt to finish it all off. And there you go. Bowl of nice homemade kitcheri.